It seems almost humorous to me that we're having a discussion around the topic of anxiety and depression during the holidays. So I'm trying to put this video together for you folks, and I did. I'm feeling a little anxious. I am not a professional video maker. I've experimented with the lighting to try to help you folks, hopefully not be distracted, but be able to just be blessed. I have prayed for you folks watching this, that this truly would be a time that God's Spirit is on you and that He is leading you with His Spirit and being creative and having ideas moving forward from anxiety and feeling depressed and hopeless to feelings of joy and peace and hope. So I need to confess right off the bat, I cannot see hardly anything without my reading glasses. So here's what I also know. There's a little bit of a glare. So once again, I have prayed for you that you won't be distracted, but I do pray this will be a blessing for you. My name is Sherry Mitchell, and I am a life coach, and I'm very excited to have this time to share with you folks. I do have some notes to kind of keep me on task, and I'm going to share those with you all now as well. First of all, I am not an expert on anxiety and depression, nor am I a trained counselor. However, what I do bring to the table is yes, I have felt anxious before and still do. I have felt stressed and overwhelmed. I have felt hopeless. And honestly, through a lot of very, very hard years, sometimes I felt like I was just trying to survive. So the things that I will share in this video are things that God has taught me and that have helped me immensely on my journey here on this earth. Again, I'm a life coach. As a coach, what I help people do is move forward from where they are to where they want to be. So I'm assuming, for the sake of we can't talk one-on-one, that if you're watching this, you are hoping to move forward from times of feeling anxious or down or depressed or hopeless to feeling, again, I'm just going to assume joy, peace, hope. So that's going to kind of be what we're looking to move from the feelings of anxiety, etc., to the feelings of hope and joy. I am assuming if you're like me, as we approach the holidays, sometimes those feelings can increase, especially under what we're currently experiencing in our country, the pandemic, what's going on politically. If you're like me, there's a lot of things going on in my family that are hard, just period. Jesus told us in this world that we would have trials, but to be a good cheer, He's overcome the world. So on top of the holidays and the pandemic, you may just have trials going on in your life. Holidays may be harder because you've lost someone recently or however long ago it may be. Yes, so holidays can sometimes trump up those feelings. The ideas that I am going to share in this video are by no means meant to overwhelm you further. That would be not very helpful. So my prayer is that God would spark ideas for you personally as you're watching this video, things that you could experiment and try. And I'm even going to start with a story too of a time that I was extremely anxious. I meant to do that earlier, but I forgot. So my husband, his name is Tony. He used to be a basketball coach at a college nearby where we live. And 15 years ago, he left his job coaching to take a job in pharmaceutical sales. So there were two times that he had to leave for 3 weeks at a time where he left and he did not come home at all during that period of time. I had the honor of going and spending a weekend with him in New Jersey. My in-laws graciously kept our children, and at the time we had, well, we still have 4 children, but at the time they were younger. And I came home. I think I flew back from New Jersey on a Sunday night. Monday morning, I had a female exam. Yeah, that was fun. By the way, the night before, not only did I have, was flying, which can make me very out of it, but I had a very long layover. So I got home extremely late. And then I had the doctor's appointment extremely early the next morning. I left the doctor's appointment feeling like I needed to hustle, hustle, hustle. My father-in-law had had the kids longer than I had actually even expected. So I wasn't aware of it, but I was anxious. I was exhausted. I was rushing to get to my kids. They were at a t-ball game. Well, each of them were like, we want to do this, we want to do that. Actually, only one of my kids was like, hi, Mom. So yeah, I was feeling tired, overwhelmed, rushed, hurting a little bit, like nobody even really said hi except for one person. And of course, my father-in-law told me hi in defense of him. But as far as, my mama's heart was desiring a different type of reaction from my kids. So I brought them home. Again, they're telling me, Mom, we want to do this, we want to do that. For some reason, I was holding a basket. We're standing in our living room, and I've got this basket in my hands. Folks, I lost it. I just crumpled that basket and destroyed it. And I looked at my kids' faces, and they looked traumatized. They just all had this look of fear on their faces. Now, I am convinced at that point that God must have started talking to me. Sherry, you need to take a break. This is what I ended up communicating to my children. I'm tired. I'm sure I asked them to forgive me for my behavior. Put on a movie, and I went and took a nap. So through this talk today, this discussion that I'm responsible for, I want to share ideas of, I have a little jingle I made up. Actually, I made it up for my husband to encourage him to talk to me about stuff. Communication is the key to take you where you want to be. So I was assigned talking about anxiety and depression within relationships. So I want to share with you all how to have communication within three very important relationships: relationships with God, our relationship with ourselves, and our relationship with others. I encourage you just to maybe jot something down. Again, these ideas are not meant to overwhelm you, but just to see, it may spark an idea for you. But as we go, jot things down. I'll even ask you a question at the end of each section. Oh, by the way, I give you permission to experiment, to have fun, to be creative. And at the end, yeah, hopefully you'll walk away with some action steps of things you can do. Sorry, it just hit my computer. Okay, now I am going to share my screen. I'm kind of a newbie at this. Oh goodness. Let's see. Okay, just had a panic attack. I didn't see my notes there for a moment. All right, again, as a life coach, I'm going to almost be taking you kind of technically through a coaching session. So the goal, helping you move from anxiety and feeling down to joy and peace and more harmonious relationships. Yeah, I'm also trying to move you from not crumpling a basket and traumatizing those around you. Again, there's my little jingle. Communication is the key to take you where you want to be. And we're going to be looking within three relationships, so God, self, and others, about communication. Be distracted by that either. So relationship number one is God. Talk to God about everything. I'm realizing, if you're watching this video, that perhaps you don't really need me to tell you to talk about talk to God about everything. I love the Lord. I am so thankful to be in relationship with Him. But sometimes I have to be reminded to talk to Him about everything. I'm actually in a group coaching class, and our leader, she just does a great job reminding us to pray too. So sometimes when I'm trying something new, I can get so focused on what's new that I forget to pray. So I don't mean to insult you by suggesting you talk to God about everything, but I just want to give you this friendly reminder, talk to Him about everything. So why? I looked up recently, you hear about a prayer closet. I love to look up words and see their meanings because oftentimes God just encourages my heart. I looked at closet in Merriam-Webster Dictionary, and one of the definitions included in closet is a place of retreat or privacy. That's just really fun for me to think about. It's not literally necessarily a closet, but even going to a different place, and I've got some of those listed below, can be a closet. So it's not necessarily, I wish to use the word cooped up in a small space, uh, but again, a place of retreat or privacy. You know what? God is our place of retreat. So why do we talk to Him about everything? Because He's our place of retreat. Why do we talk to Him? Because He cares about you and He hears you. Why talk to God? Just fill in the blank. Because I need help, because I need saving, I need deliverance from anxiety, I need hope. One of my favorite passages is when Peter was walking on the water with Jesus, and when his focus shifted to the waves and he began to sink, he cried out, Jesus, save me. And immediately Jesus reached out for him. So often I will just say, save me. Um, Help needed here. That's recently a new phrase I've even been saying, like, help needed here. So why do we talk to God? Because we need, again, fill in the blank. And then why? Oh, literally retreat with God. There's an error in my notes. Just ignore that. Okay, so where? Where can we go to talk to God? Recently, when I was reading in scripture, I kind of picked up for the first time that as soon as Jesus received the news about John the Baptist's death, he immediately got on a boat by himself. So that's kind of, he got in that closet I was just talking about. He retreated to a place of privacy. The Garden of Gethsemane, I looked up in my Bible dictionary and it talked about the garden. And of course, you can look this up in scripture. That was a place Jesus went with his disciples to fellowship, to pray, to play. There's a park close by where I live, and I love to go there for times with, yes, others walking. I'll do walk and talks with the Lord. That's a place of privacy and retreat for me. So sometimes just being in a different place, getting alone with God. Um, Church of the Yukon is the next one that I listed. Yes, we have an SUV that is a Yukon, and that has been a major place of retreat for me, especially during COVID. We just have had a lot of us in our home doing school, working all at the same time. So to have some privacy and retreat, one time I pulled out just in my driveway, just a little distance, and where I was in the sunshine, it was cold at that time. Just getting in my Yukon gave me some privacy. We're having remodeling work done at our house right now, and 2 days in a row, I've just taken the Church of the Yukon and I have parked in a parking lot and I've done my work and I've prayed and had time with the Lord. Actually, I was working on preparing this discussion for you all. So I got away. So really just any change of scenery, being with God can be a place of retreat. I have a precious friend and she will have a vacation in her bed. Um, I had a really hard situation recently and I just curled up in my bed and got under the covers and listened to worship music. I had already been listening to worship music, Zach Williams actually, just song after song. But like I said, I got in my bed and snuggled up. I didn't have the lights on. I just closed my eyes and listened to one song after another. So those are some ideas of places that you can go to talk to God. How to talk to God? I encourage you to journal and ask God questions and write down in faith what you hear from Him. So talk to God. What is realistic for me right now? What do I need to say no to? How do you want me to be? So going back to my story that I shared earlier, what was realistic for me? Had I been journaling with God prior to my trip, I'm pretty sure He would have said it's not very realistic for you to go on this trip, come back home, go to the doctor. I would have had enough wisdom, I'm pretty sure, to cancel that doctor's appointment. So I was extending myself beyond my limits there, which I'll talk about that more in a little bit. But, just pausing and asking Him these questions, and then again, writing down what He says to us. Sometimes even, asking God how He sees the situation, or God, I need affirmation, and then letting Him love on me, and then writing those things down in my journal. How to talk to God all the time. When you're working, when you're alone. If you look in scripture, God met people in just everything that they were doing. The shepherds were working in the field. The lady was doing her chores, going to get water at the well. Um, you have these times that you see God meeting people when they're alone. So again, just talk to God all the time, whatever you're doing. That is a place of retreat. Again, He's our retreat. So, but a lot of times it doesn't matter what we're doing, but just that we're talking to Him. And then His Word is a place that we can communicate with Him. I had written it down in my notes and I somehow got those disorganized. I decided, I remembered I used to claim this a lot. It's from Proverbs. Better a dry crust of bread, I think with joy, than feasting with strife. I was jokingly saying to myself, that could be my holiday menu, a dry crust of bread. So again, just going to God with to His Word for communication. It might be that you need comfort. I'm going to His Word, not just to check off a box, I read my Bible today, but going to Him for those specific things that we need, such as comfort. Or you could look up anxiety, the different things that are specific to what you're dealing with. Okay, so if you're taking notes, I encourage you, or even if you're not, I encourage you to do this. Just write down what's one thing that you would like to try with God. And just take a little minute or two to write that down.